Hello, everyone. Today I have the pleasure to interview our seventh guest for 2024. Meet Liz Hronek-Hodnett. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Wellness coach for busy moms, a personal development coach specializing in empowering busy moms to conquer burnout, rediscover their passions, and create a life that aligns with their deepest aspiration. She is your guide to reclaiming joy and balance in whirlwind of motherhood. With a proven record, Liz has been featured on Good Morning America, People's Magazine, and she has been assisting countless mothers in transcending overwhelm and transforming burnout into breakthroughs. The topic for today is overcoming burnout and putting yourself first. Like the saying goes, you can't pour out of an empty glass until you replenish it. So our first question to you today, Liz, is, can you share a little bit about what you do and what type of coaching methods and strategy you use to work with mothers who are experiencing burnout, and what tips that you recommend for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm working with clients, I have several clients that we do one-on-one, and then we also have the Burnout Breakthrough course. And in the midst of all of those, what we do is we focus on our mindfulness, our nutrition, and our fitness, because having a background in personal training and nutritional therapy, I've been working with several thousands of people that we can get to our fitness goal. But what happens a lot of times is once they reach that goal, they backpedaled. And so what I learned, not only from my personal journey, but from working with clients, is that there's a third aspect that is necessary to fulfill those not only fitness goals, but then even go further to the next level and to make it a mindset shift, make it a lifestyle shift, so that we're actually living a fulfilled, passionate life instead of just focused on fitness or nutrition.
Those are great explanation that you gave, and also tips that as parents, we tend to take care of everybody else, but we start lacking on ourselves. For the topic for today is overcoming burnout and putting yourself first. Can you share about a time in which you experienced challenges as a mother, and how were you able to resolve those challenges, and what do you recommend for other moms to do if they ever experience those type of challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a point in time where I felt the need. I had so many opportunities coming at me, whether it was to be a part of something that my children were in, or whether it was my job, or whether it was a multitude of things that I had. I felt like I couldn't say no. So I had my hands in coaching clients. I was full-time teaching. And then I have my daughters, and they were already like full-time athletes, playing soccer and doing gymnastics. And then I would say yes to anything that everybody asked me for, because I didn't want to say no, because I felt like that made me a bad mom. If I had somebody come ask me to help them with either the soccer or the gymnastics, and I was done. At the end of the day, I didn't even have time to spend enjoyable time with my own family. And what I had to do was I had to step back, and I had to look at where I was spending my time and what activities I was doing that were draining me versus the activities that were filling me up. And so I had to take a step back. I had to sit still and see what I needed to do, what I needed to let go, what I needed to delegate, in order to make sure that not only I was looking out for myself and doing what was best for me, but also in turn, as if we take care of ourselves, we're able to give our best to our family and our kids.
That's a great explanation. So many of the young single mothers who are raising children these days, they face many different challenges and have many roles as single parents and head of household. From experience working with clients in the community, one of the toughest tasks for single parents to, making decisions on their own and not having that reliable support that can help them when they needed help the most. Would you recommend for parents who are dealing with this type of things, like they're by themselves, they're single parents working, and they have a lot of different roles that they're taking on, like you explained before, but do not have that sounding board or that balance in their decision making. What strategies go help them to make those right choices when they feel stuck?
Well, coming from personal experience, I was a single mom for almost 10 years, and I understand the challenges. But what I would invite them, single moms, what I would invite you to do is get excited about the fact that these are your decisions, and you don't have to get anybody's approval. You don't have to do anything to make sure that everybody else is satisfied. What we have to do is sit still and listen to our heart and realize what is going to be best, not for us, because what is best for us is also going to be best for our children.
That's a great explanation you gave. Very helpful. One of the challenges for the working mothers and single mothers that they face is stressing and feeling anxious about money. What do you recommend for a person who is facing these stressors to do? And what do you recommend for them to alleviate some of that stress that comes in with finances, especially the single parents? And how can they become more empowered in managing their financial situations?
So the very first thing that I would recommend is acknowledging how far you've come and what all you've accomplished, and that you've always been taken care of. There might have been times that were harder than others. There's never been a point in time that you didn't make it through. So you are strong enough. You have everything that you need to make it. Now, sometimes it's going to feel tight, but the stressing and the worry does not help solve those problems, and our kids feel that. So from a mind points perspective, we want to make sure that we acknowledge our progress and our success, and then also acknowledge that we always have everything that we need right when we need it. Now, looking into the numbers in regards to finances, what has helped me is writing down all the bills, looking at and knowing where my money is going, and then also including family, the kids, and if you're married, your spouse, and having a conversation about goals, like maybe a trip that you want to take, or maybe something that you want to buy, and understanding that we have all the bills covered. And if we maybe don't go out to eat this week, or we cut back on something else, then we can save each month and build up to those goals, and take that trip or buy that thing. And so it becomes a group effort, and that way it's easier, especially for kids, to understand that you're not being deprived if you don't get to go get that toy, because remember, we have this other thing that we're working on that we're saving up for.
Those are great tips. As a parent, I mean, I raised 4 kids, and I remember that when I was raising my kids, I was a crazy coupon lady. So that's one way that I used to save money and to teach the kids, we can get this for less price, or we can substitute this with this. And those are all great tips. So every parent knows and understands that children are not born with a manual, and that as parents, we sometimes learn through trial and errors. With that being said, parenting is difficult. It's a tax in itself, and we understand that. Especially parents nowadays, they're facing more and more challenges when it comes to child rearing. So the pressures and worries that parents face these days compared to 10 to 20 years ago has changed quite a bit, especially with technology and bullying and kids not, spending much time outside. And there's now also safety issues and children needing additional therapeutic support from the community. So the current culture in the government and educational system pressures are challenging for the parents. They're challenging parental rights and parent moral obligation of instilling their own values to the children. And parents experience more concern what their children are learning in school, the peer pressure, social media's risk, kidnapping, trafficking, and the list can go on. And also when parents experience self-doubt about parenting, about their parenting skills. So because of all these different pressures and all these different things that they now have to deal with, what is your take on that?
I agree 100%. I actually have been teaching high school for several years, and I understand and I see the shift every year, how things are getting more and more challenging to handle. And what I would encourage us as parents to do is to take time to communicate with our kids. And it's not communicate in regards to punish them, but communicate in regards to where are they coming from, what are they dealing with, and how can you support them through those challenges. I know a lot of parents that feel like they just have to be the disciplinarian. And granted, that is necessary, but it's really important for our kids to know and feel comfortable coming to talk to us about things that are uncomfortable to talk about. Because it's one thing to come for you as a parent to find out something and then approach the child, but for them to be able to come feel comfortable talking to us about things before they do it, they're going to learn so much more from us instead of going to their friends who might not have the right information and getting that information from their friends.
Those are great insight that you gave us. And the one thing that I agree with, well, I agree with everything, but that is highlighted is the fact that you encouraged for the parents to have those conversations with the kids and have those uncomfortable conversation, and also the safety, know where they're at, know what they're doing. That's really important, because many parents, we want to give the kids autonomy, but we forget that they're still children. We want to be as involved. It's not like we're meddling in their business. We're just, guarding them and teaching them how to be safe. So that's great insight. So what advice would you offer the listeners who are struggling as parents, single mothers, or struggling with disciplining their children? Because that's so important. So as a parent, what is the best advice that you can give another parent who's struggling in this area? Because when we think of disciplining, many people associate it with like corporal punishment, but there's a certain way that is age appropriate for each child. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So personally, it's really important for me to build relationships, not only with my children, but also with their friends, because their friends are the people that they're going to be spending the most time with. Just like people with the 9 to 5, that's where you spend most of your life, at the 9 to 5. So knowing and understanding and being able to have conversation with their friends while our children are there, and building that trust so that not only you can be a support for our children's friends, but also to be a support for and understand where our children are getting this information. And if there's some friends that are maybe not the most ideal, either taking them under our wing and helping to encourage and give them positivity, or having a conversation with our children and explaining, these are the concerns that I see with some of your friends. Is there something we can do to help them? Or just having that open conversation about the people that they're spending the most time with.
Those are great suggestions. So I'm going to leave the forum for you right now. What will be one encouragement that you want to give to the listeners as parents, how they can stay encouraged when they're struggling with their parenting skills, or as a parent? What will be your number one encouragement today? And I leave you the forum, so it's all yours now.
Absolutely. Yeah. It would be to take one day at a time and to remind yourself, it's every minute, every hour, that this is what it looks like while it's working out. Everything is working out for our own good.
So I have one other question for you. And I know that you teach the wellness, your wellness coach for busy moms. Does that incorporate like physical training, or what are the things that you incorporate in your coaching?
Yes, ma'am. So there's 3 tiers that we focus on. The first thing in the beginning is anytime I start working with a client, we have to figure out our vision, because if we don't have a vision, we don't know where we're going. So the very first thing, not what somebody else, not the world, not what they think that we need to be doing or what we want to be doing. We have to sit still and ask ourselves, what is my passion? What is my purpose? What fulfills me? And then we can move forward in taking a route and figuring out a route to fulfill that. So being fulfilled is part of the overcoming burnout, because when we're not fulfilled, but we feel like we're going and going, but we're not getting anything accomplished, then that takes away our energy. So we have our vision, and then we focus on our mindfulness and knowing, making mindset shifts, listening to the way that we talk to ourselves, and believing the person that we are is good enough and we have everything that we need. And then we add in the nutrition, because this is our one body that we have to take care of. And if we're not feeding it with the things and the nutrients that we need, then we're going to have zero energy. And then finally, it's the movement. And a lot of times, especially being a personal trainer in the past, fitness is not always fun for everybody. Some people love it, some people don't. So working with clients, we figure out what feels good, what fills them up when they're moving their body. If they had to move their body, what would it be? Would it be a walk? Would it be going to play like a team sport, going to take your kids out somewhere? Or you could go to the gym, you could do yoga, but knowing what kind of movement doesn't drain us in regards to mentally and will fill us up physically, because the more we move our body, the happier we feel.
Those are great, a great model to follow. It's like that spiritual side, the physical, and also the mental side of changing the whole mindset. Because you cannot do one without the other. You have to like begin and know where the person is at, and it's like a guiding compass to get them to the place that they can feel comfortable with the exercise, because many people kind of feel, I would not say afraid, but it's a challenge to them. Many people join the gym. However, when they join the gym, they got other things that they have to work on before they go into the gym, because they're not prepared. So you see some people going to the gym and they're going through sort of like kind of like a cycle, and they then wonder, but I'm not losing weight, because sometimes there's an emotional factor that is keeping them from losing that weight. And sometimes it could be a medical factor as well, way of intervention that they can look at all these areas and see where they're at, and also decide when they're ready, to work on this and then move over to the other area that they have to work on. That's really insightful. I greatly appreciate you sharing that. Is there anything else that you would like to encourage the listeners with?
I would encourage you guys, I would encourage you not to get frustrated. I know life is crazy, and I know, especially having kids, that things feel overwhelming sometimes. But when we are able to take some time for ourselves, like I have my clients, the very first thing we start with is waking up 5 minutes earlier than we normally do, and just sit still and gather your thoughts and find your peace. And it affects the rest of our day. So making sure that you take even 5 minutes in the morning just to get yourself together and get centered and pray, meditate, whatever it is. And then the rest, you'll be amazed at how the rest of your day goes.
That's a great suggestion, taking that time, have a clear mind in what you're going to do for the day. It sets the day in a positive mode. So those are all great suggestions. In terms of suggesting to the listeners any support groups or any websites that you feel that can help them gain that extra support? Like, let's say when they're not seeing you or when they're not, connected, that they can continue to still receive positive reinforcement or feedback on parenting, or sometimes there's even support groups that helps with like the stress management and things like that. Do you have any suggestion in on that?
Yes, when you have joined the Burnout Breakthrough, it's a course. What we have is we have a community of individuals that are only part of that course. And so it is all like-minded individuals in one spot where you can go, and if you're having a bad day, then you can just vent and ask for support. If there's a specific need that you have, if you have a prayer request, you can put it in that community. And just knowing that you have a support area, no matter what you're going through, it is a game changer, because there's so many things that come at us in life. But then on top of that, being a parent, there's a community that is here to support you, and so you never have to feel alone.
That's a great resource that the parents can link to. And after we finish the podcast, if you can send me that information, or they have to be part of your program to attend, or it.
Well, the Burnout Breakthrough community is part of the course. I like to keep it really private. I don't want everybody to be, I want everybody to feel safe. It's a safe environment. But what I can do, and what I would invite your listeners to do, is to reach out to me and we can have a conversation, see what's going on, and see what would be the best route for them to take with the challenges that they're going through.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'll include some websites that I found also so that they can, connect as well. And I'll include all of your information so the listeners can connect with you. It sounds like a great program. I'm super excited that you accepted my invite. And I greatly appreciate all the wisdom and all the insights that you provided on all the tips. And I wish I had met you a long time ago when I had my kids, because this would have been amazing for me when I was raising 4 boys. Imagine 4 boys. So these are all great, the parents nowadays that are going through a lot more struggle, I would say. The family is a little bit more disconnected, I would say. When I was raising the kids, we have my grandma, my aunt, and we had my mother. So, but nowadays a lot of the families are kind of like apart, so they need that extra support system that they can connect to. So I greatly appreciate your time and all of the resources that you provided and the insight. God
Yes.
bless you.
God bless you too.
God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you.